listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, y'all? Alex here. We're back with episode 77 of the Money Monopolizers podcast, and I'm here with my co-host Marlon Walls. Marlon, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, bro. Long time no see. I know we actually just recorded an episode yesterday. We're knocking them out now. We haven't recorded like two in a weekend in a solid minute, but I think we got a lot of special guests coming up very soon, and I'm really just like I just take a step back and just admire like the guests that we bring on because they add so much value in different areas. I think a lot of people can really relate to a lot of our our guests can relate to a lot of our listeners because of the experiences that they've had growing up. And I think that one thing people can take away from is the fact that they are not willing, or they're not afraid of failure for one, and not afraid of like taking on new things and like just the unknown. I think a lot of people, like especially in our community, have that fear. And I think if they learn to adapt this mentality, they'll be a lot more receptive to trying new things out in life. So if anything you can take away from any of our guests that we've had, I think that would be one big thing. And that's just something that was on my mind. But other than that, I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing well as well. I think, we did I don't remember the last time we did a couple episodes in a weekend. I remember I hated doing it because it was a lot of effort, but you know, it's just what you got to do sometimes. So we did have a great episode this week, but you know, other than that, well, I mean, yesterday, so it's really hard to kind of, you know, talk about, you know, some things that are going on without repeating the same things. Even though technically the last episode will technically
it'll be a week apart for the people listening, but it's one day apart for us.
Yeah, so you got to think of those semantics and logistics when you're a podcaster, which is always interesting. It's like when you're an actor, and you know it's similar where you have to think of it from the perspective of the listener or think of it from the perspective of the audience. So it's always something that's even 77 episodes in, you're still not 100% used to it. So I don't know how long it'll take, maybe 200 episodes. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. I think a lot of the things right now I'm just really trying to stay focused on is continue to scale the business and continuing to reinvest everything back into business and make sure I'm really. My tenants are cooking. Smells really good. My fridge is super empty, so it's very.
You're supposed to go grocery shopping yesterday, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. I don't know. I got busy. I had a headache this morning because I was so hungry and I had nothing in my fridge. And anyone that knows me, I don't get headaches, but that's how hungry I was, to the point where it's like my mind was like, "Yo, I need some sugar, yo. Like I need some." But what's I saying? Oh yeah, so you know, I'm just really focused on trying to scale the business and get it to a point where, we was talking yesterday in terms of having a strategy and a plan for financial freedom. And you know, one thing I was mentioning was that I have a lot of confidence in my plan for financial freedom just based off of, you know, a lot of the way I've structured my business and the way I'm kind of, you know, doing the accounting and those kind of things, in terms of I know exactly the metrics I need to hit for me to get financial freedom from just one business. So, you know, it gives you a lot of confidence moving forward when you structure it in a way to where, you know that once you hit this number in terms of revenue, then you'll be financially free. At least once you hit it consistently for, you know, at least I would say 3 to 6 months. Then you can say that you are financially free from that. So, you know, I'm excited about that, man. I dream about that a lot. I dream about that a lot in terms of getting to that number. But yeah, man, I think one thing again is I think I might keep mentioning it every week we come on here is I'm real bullish on Bitcoin, man. I put in another rack yesterday.
And he gonna say this every week. I put in another rack yesterday.
Hey man, because every night I probably spend about 1 to 2 hours every night, just watching videos, reading articles, and just for at least for the past 3 days.
Every night. He said every night, like you've been doing it for a month. Every
Hey,
night for the past 3 days.
and but that's the
It starts
thing
somewhere though. That's actually true.
But no, not even that. The thing is, that's all you don't need. I mean, in terms of research, I don't have to go into analysis paralysis to get into an investment. If I read 50 articles and watch 20 videos, I got a lot of information that I can go based off of and make that decision. And that's probably what I've done just in the past 3-4 days. And so now I feel real confident in terms of everything. It's another thing too is like once y'all are hearing this, that stimulus check has come out. So we're recording this on the weekend, which I don't think it's come out yet, or hasn't hit
later. This is gonna be or at least in 2 weeks later, probably. So
yeah, and so that stimulus check has come, and so I hope by this point most people have probably spent it. But if you haven't, you should if you don't need it, it definitely needs to be going into an asset. And I think I'm not telling you where to put it, but if I was in your position, I would definitely be looking to put that into some sort of a little bit, at least a portion of that into Bitcoin.
My whole check getting dropped in there, guaranteed.
Yeah. So I think people just if you don't need it, look, because like we said in a few weeks ago when we did the episode with Justin, if you had invested the $1,200 stimulus check in April of 2020, it would be worth $10K. Bitcoin is about to hit 60,000 today as we're recording this. In 2 weeks, it might be at 80,000. Who knows? By the time this episode releases, or it could be at 40,000 too. I mean, it could go either way. So, but the thing is, to me, it's a long-term hold. I can see Bitcoin being at least 100K by the end of the year based off of a lot of the things I've been reading. That is a conservative estimate. I can definitely see a lot of people based off of a lot of analysis and data. People are saying 288,000 by the end of the year. So I'm bullish on it. I'm definitely bullish on it. And to me, a lot of the institutions and stuff are getting into it. So look, man, it's there's opportunity right now with blockchain in general. And so it's relatively new. It's so crazy because 10 years ago, I seen some videos where people were because Bitcoin first came as a form of currency. So there's like archive videos of like people talking about Bitcoin to like, there's guys like ordering pizza with their Bitcoin, using 10 Bitcoins to order a pizza back in 2010, which that now would be worth $570,000 or $600,000. So that was a very expensive pizza. So it's just crazy to think about, like, that's just where this thing has gone. So again, not financial or investment advice. This is just what I'm personally doing. Like I said in the first time, you don't know my risk tolerance. So make sure that, you invest in only what you can afford to lose. You don't know. I might be willing to lose my savings. You don't know me. So if that's your risk tolerance, then, by all means. But don't invest because I'm investing. Just saying. Make sure you do your own research. But in the end of the year or next year, I will be bringing this back up, and I might
he gonna point it out.
I might say, in March of 2020 or 2021, I said, I said it.
It wasn't investment advice, Alex.
It's not, but what I did was I raised the awareness.
That's it. And you do your own due diligence, go research it, and if you find out what Alex was seeing, you may feel the same exact way.
Because I guarantee, and you know what the thing, and I don't want to go on too far into this, but the thing is that it's like in March of 2020 when everything dropped in the mid-March, a lot of people that had Bitcoin, they lost a lot of their money too. And so I know a lot of people were very scared. So it's easy for me to come in here and talk from a position when Bitcoin's at an all-time high, where I haven't had to go through any of those, meteors and get, punched in the face holding a Bitcoin, but still come out standing with scrapes and bruises all over me. So it's easy for me to say that, especially if, I'm just hopping in the middle of this wave. So yeah, that's obviously very, it's a fact. So, but if you did buy it at that point last year, 2020 hindsight, yeah, you're sitting real pretty right now. So, But now I see this as a very long-term thing. So that's just me personally. But yeah, as far as the episode that we had this week, so we had a really great guest this week. We got to chop it up with Jay Harvey from Trailer Cash Academy, and they're big in a mobile home game. So this is the second mobile home episode we've done. We did one episode 43 with Byron and Sharnice from Mobile Home Elite Investors. Shout out to them. That was a really good episode, man. And this again, we got another couple that's killing it doing mobile homes, and they've done over 400 mobile home transactions. He mentioned at one point, he said they had 20 mobile homes, but he said that they had already sold a bunch of them. So, I'm sure they had a good number of mobile homes in their portfolio that they're switched their strategy now, but they definitely are they definitely have the authority to be speaking on this subject. So we're happy to have him on here and allow him to kind of talk about how he got into mobile homes and how he has been how he's utilizing mobile homes to build wealth and create financial freedom for himself and for his family. So it was a really great episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it too, and I think that people don't give like the people that we bringing on to the podcast. I don't think our audience is giving them enough credit. Like these are big time players that we're bringing on. Mobile Home Elite, like that's cream, but that's just top of the line. Same thing with Trailer Cash Academy, which is Jay Harvey and his wife. They have 400 mobile home transactions since they got started. And we're currently their portfolio is 20, like Alex said, but they have been doing this, and they are top tier in this market. Like this is what they do. This is their niche. And like I think y'all really need to understand who we're bringing on, because they're just adding tremendous value. So don't just look at this episode and be like, he don't know what he's talking about. Like these people, they've been through it, and he can tell you. He told personally his failures that he's had, how he lost almost $100,000 when he first got started, and like it's just a tremendous value I think that we're bringing to our audience, and I hope people are taking a lot out of it personally, because like this is really going to be life changing if you are taking this information and applying it afterwards. So I just want people to really take that into consideration when they're listening to this episode and any episode, because like you're not, this information is free right now. And I think like stuff like this back then, like 20 years ago, would have been unheard of, to like just be able to come on to Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or whatever, and get this information just out of nowhere, just because you opened up your phone that day.
Yeah, man. So let's get into it then. What up, Jay? How you doing today, bro?
Man, I'm too blessed to be stressed, brother. I can't not complain.
I'm happy to hear it. Congrats on the baby, man. That's huge. I know that's where Samara is at right now. We ain't know who's gonna get both of y'all, but
right.
we happy to have you on here.
Yeah, man. Samara's definitely holding it down for us right now. I really appreciate it, fatherhood. And for me, it's like a dream come true, man. We're truly blessed.
Yes, man. Yes, sir. It's a blessing. So usually how we get into these episodes, like we do every single week with every guest that we have, we really want to get into the background of the guest and really just kind of see, what your upbringing was in terms of, finances and those kind of things, and how you kind of transition into, adulthood when you were 18. You look like a pretty young dude right now. So, it's I'm sure it wasn't too long ago. Maybe how did you actually get to where you are now in terms of your journey?
Yeah, man. I think for me, the main thing for myself is just my mindset. Growing up, I grew up in a household where it was just a bunch of scarcity. So my dad worked, my mom took care of home, and it seemed like every dollar that came in, they were stretching the life out of it, trying to make ends meet. And, we always heard things coming up like money don't grow on trees. What do you think we made of? And, I just always said, man, I want to create a family where my kids are thinking about abundance. My kids are thinking about abundance. I don't want that scarcity mindset to continue on generation after generation. So for me to get to, where I'm at right now, I knew I had to learn. I knew I had to connect with the right people, and I know I had to put the work in. So I just combined all those three things, took some hard lessons, and, eventually got to the mountaintop. But like I said, growing up, man, it was just so much scarcity in our household. I've seen my parents break up because of money. I've seen my other people in my family, break up because of family and because of money. And I always said, I want to just change those generational curses.
What city or what state did you grow up in?
So I grew up in Indiana. I was born in
Hmm.
Maryville, Indiana. My family's all from Gary, Indiana. So did a lot of like moving around all throughout Northwest Indiana growing up.
Got you,
Got you.
got you.
One thing I mean, you said abundance of scarcity. Like just that phrase is just I don't know, it stuck with me for some reason. And it's like this is what a lot of people just this is their reality in life. This is how they grow up. They are just always surrounded. And their environment is pretty much telling them, "What do you think we're made of? Money doesn't grow on trees. This, that, and the other." That's pretty much thwarting or like diminishing all of their imagination, all of their dreams that they could have for themselves. Because you probably answer for big things in life. You answering for, hey, can we have a big house? Can we have a nice car? Can we have this? And they're telling you money doesn't grow on trees. So now you're thinking, I guess maybe that's not for me. That's something that I can't obtain because we don't have the funds in order to do so. Some people take that and they believe it and carry that into the adulthood, and they just say, okay, well, I still don't believe I can have those nice things. But now for you apparently, the reason on a podcast, you took it and said, I'm not going to be anything like that. I don't want to continue this same journey. So like, how did you start getting into like just the wealth building? Like, what was your first step, or like what was your starting point basically?
Honestly, man, the starting point for me was, I had some decent friends in my life, and I would go to their house and I would compare the way they were communicating with their brothers and sisters, communicating with their parents, just involving money, and some of my friends, they would have just different conversations, man. Like they didn't, if they wanted things, they could go out and get them. They had things like allowances. They were talking about like retirement plans, retirement funds. They were setting up their kids like trust and different like investment accounts. And I just started probing, like, where do you guys get this information from? Like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And step by step, I just kept getting more and more information. And then later on, into my adulthood, I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad that gave me a whole paradigm shift because I thought I was going to work my way into becoming rich, like building up finances by going through the corporate ladder. And I got to the corporate world and it was like, man, I feel like I have more to offer the world. I feel
Yeah.
like, I don't even want to become my boss. I don't even want to become my boss's boss. I don't want a glass ceiling to the amount of income I'm making. And I see how all these people are living and how they're complaining about their wives, the amount of no time they have living for the weekend. And I just said, you know what? If I'm gonna live like this, I'd rather get out here and get it on my own. So after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, man, I just started applying the knowledge and connecting with the right people to get me to where I'm at.
You know, I like that so much because whenever I always think of a lot of young people, this can go like two ways for most people, right? Like, because this happens to everyone. You kind of go. You might go to school, you go to college, you graduate college, you start getting to corporate America, you start seeing how things are, and it's like, oh, okay. For a lot of people, it's either going to be, well, yeah, this is pretty much what I expected. It is this. But there's always a select few people or a few people, the rare minority, that will see it and say, what the heck? This is what this like. This is not normal. Like, why? You're just accepting this. Y'all are complaining. You're talking about how much you hate your job. You're talking about how much you hate your boss. You're talking about how much you hate Monday, and just accepting it, right? All the politics, all the things that are going on, you're just accepting it, right? And because I always think of too, like I remember when I graduated, December 2017, started working January 2018. Literally 2 weeks into that, after seeing that environment, because hadn't really had like a real corporate job before that. Seeing that environment, I knew instantly, look, this is not gonna be, my path because, and I even remember, last year when we had our, like, they do the career planning things,
Yeah.
and they ask you, what do you see yourself in the next few years? They asked me that, and he said, hey, what do you in the next 5 years? Can you see yourself being, in this guy's position, which they pointed to, my boss's boss? I said, absolutely not, because I see how much this dude is working. He's here 60, 70 hours a week. It's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. And I'm like, look, for me at that time, I'm 21 years old. We're all in the office. Everybody's working. But it's one thing for me to be here at this time right now. But it's another thing when you're a 45-year-old man here in the office, 50 years old, 60 years old, still in the office at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. It's like, why would I want that? So,
Exactly. And when you talk about exchanging time for money. You know how much they making, and then you hear what they're talking about and complaining about. It's just not having enough. You know, my manager was bringing in close to 100 grand a year, but he was only saving close to about $1,000 a month because of, you know, all the bills. You know, his wife wasn't working. He had kids going to school. He had different car notes, mortgages, and things like that. And I was like, man, I just, there's got to be something else. There's people out there doing it. There's people out there living in that abundance comfortably and even helping other families get to their level. Why not me? That's my mindset.
That's the thing about the time we're in now. Back 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was a lot harder to see that there was people doing it. Exactly. But now today, it's like, that's why it's like, you know, I always say there'll be a lot more competition in the future because kids now are learning about this stuff at a young age. You're learning about this off of TikTok, literally. So, you know, you're going to be growing up with this information. And those are the people that will be like, you know, not necessarily competing against, but those are the people that will be in the business, your business competition. So, you know, we got to be aware of that and know like the opportunity that you have right now in this moment, because you're still, you know, most of the people around you still are not awoken to the fact that, oh, you don't have to work for 40 years in order to have a good life. So
I had a mentor tell me that exact same thing, just about, you know, the opportunity that we have right now and, you know, and how we're living with all this different technology. He said there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 if you love what you do. If you love what you do, you know, you're serving people, do what you do. But if you're at a 9 to 5 job and you're not content and you're unhappy, he said, you're making a choice to be unhappy. This is your choice, because with all the technology out there, you mentioned TikTok, you got your cell phone, you got your computer, we got watches where we can talk to other people literally with our watch. You have no excuse. Yeah. It's just about taking the action, learning what you need to learn to get to that next level, putting that work in.
That's no doubt about it. How long ago did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Because I know that's one thing. That's how we really got started too. So, what time frame was that?
Man, that was pretty late for me. I didn't read Rich Dad until I was about 27 years old.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's early for relatives.
It's still relatively early, right?
Everybody else, real early.
But once you got that bug, like I swear that book is almost taboo for a lot of people, because you're not a good employee no more after that.
Yeah.
Because now you see a whole new way of living. So now you thinking like, okay, I see what I need to do now. So what was your next step? Because I know a lot of people go into real estate right after. Is that something that you did? Because I know it's the person what we end up doing. So how that story playing out for you?
Honestly, man, the first thing that I did, I gained some awareness. So when you talk about Rich Dad talks about the 4 quadrants. You got that E side, the employee side, the self-employed, the business side, the investor side. Like I said, up to that point, I didn't even know what quadrant I was in. So the first thing I got was some awareness. And then I was able to see, okay, there's levels. There's another level outside of this. And my goal now is to get to that investor side. So the first thing I did was like laid out a plan. Like, what are my options? Started exploring my options, testing my options. And I decided real estate because I wanted to build something where I can not only build for myself, but I can go into business with my wife and pass this down to our kids and then their kids in the future. And real estate just happened to work for us, man. It just clicked.
So then, so you saw the real estate. And so was it like, because this is how I always see this too now. I mean, I look at it with a different lens now. Obviously, you're in this for a while. You start to see things differently. And so, you know, talking about the whole cash flow quadrant thing, for the people that don't know, it's the employee in the top left, and the self-employed in the bottom left, and then the business owner in the top right, and the investor in the bottom right. And so each quadrant, essentially what Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki says is that each quadrant has a different mentality in terms of security and making money and things like that. They approach everything differently in business and all those things. So whenever you saw it, obviously you say you wanted to go into the I quadrant. Was it more so like, okay, I just want to like have my money working for me? Or did you want to, because obviously with the B quadrant I'm really big on the B quadrant, because I can see the B quadrant to me is, you know, how you can gain freedom really quickly with the B quadrant in terms of like building a business that you can scale and then use that to buy more real estate. That's personally my strategy for building wealth and financial freedom. Did you see it as, okay, because what we did initially was let's just go buy real estate. Did you say, let me go buy real estate? Or did you say, I want to form a real estate business and then like kind of in that B quadrant kind of business? Or was it more so like an I quadrant? Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. For me, I was specifically just trying to get to that S quadrant, like that self-employed. I knew I didn't like the employee phase. I knew there was levels and certain things I needed to learn and do in order to get to the I phase. So our main goal was, let's get out of this out of this E phase. Let's get to the self-employed side. So we decided that we were actually going to build a real estate investing business. We took a couple of losses. We'll talk about those in a second. But after we put so much work in, after we put so much time in, we actually saw when we were successful in this S side, this S quadrant, the self-employed quadrant, that we actually created another job for ourselves. And we were like, man, we wanted to leave our jobs to get another taste of freedom that we weren't used to. And now I created another job for myself. So when we talk about going into that I side, it was, yes, I wanted to experience another level of freedom. I wanted to have my money work for me. But then I saw the amount of people we were impacting. I said, man, not only can we continue to impact our communities getting into that I side, but I can also invest into other people that have dreams and aspirations trying to get to the level that I'm at as well. So at that point, I said it's bigger than us.
Okay, so based on you say you were impacting other people, so you must have been like telling your story along the way of like, I guess, both of your successes and your failures or something like that, and because you were impacting other people. So like, how is that coming about? Like, were you like posting on social media? Were you like showing people the process?
And
Yeah,
were you
man.
actually doing the mobile homes at this point, or how did you get into that, like the mobile homes, or were you doing like the normal, like
Yeah,
not normal, like single families and stuff like that?
great question. So we were doing a combination of two. So we got into the real estate side. We were actually fix and flipping single family homes. Our very first fix and flip, though, we got into a burnout home. This home, it took us about $60,000 of our own money that we invested into this property. This house, it had no roof, it had no ceiling, had no doors. Again, this was a burnout property. We thought that we would be seeing a return on this property in about 3 months. We didn't get a return on this property for 15 months. Also, during that time frame, we got into another fix and flip opportunity with a quote unquote mentor. We called this guy not only a mentor, but he was like a father figure to us. We were so green and we were so eager to just take action and get involved. We invested $30,000 into a fix and flip. This house was actually being foreclosed on. We didn't do our due diligence at the time. We got into this property. We didn't know it was being foreclosed on. Not only us, but about 5 or 6 others. This man ended up taking over $225,000 in less than 30 days. So we just got man, just taking action. So
the father figure.
Yeah.
Wow.
He got $100,000 from somebody else we knew. It was just crazy. So during this time, we're taking so much action. We're going in, meeting new people. We were involved in the Arizona RIA. For all you guys don't know what RIA is, Real Estate Investors Association. Word got around, people got wind of us, just who we are, how outspoken we were. And they said, hey, we're opening up a session just for new real estate investors. We'd love for you guys to host this event. This is prior to us losing any money, just us getting out there, taking action. So after we lost this money, not only did we lose the money, but we were having to get up and host these events, once every 2 weeks, in front of new real estate investors, having to put this mask on, like we knew what we was talking about, knowing we had just lost money. However, I like that it did that because not only did it build tough skin, we were actually able to connect with people and actually be vulnerable and tell them our story. It was hard to say at first, but eventually we were just like, you know what, we're hosting these events. We got to be real with people. We know we'll help people not get scammed like us in the future. So during the RIA is when we started to actually, build up who we were, get to know people outside of social media.
But you were still very qualified to be up there speaking, in my opinion, because of the fact that you had took action, right? I mean, yeah, you lost money, but still, I always look at it as like, even if you're only 1 or 2 steps ahead of someone else, you are already an authority figure into that person. Like, there's someone out there. It's like, yeah, you might not be necessarily on Grant Cardone's level or something like that yet, but there's, many people in your personal network or even a lot of those newbie investors, they even saw you losing that money as like, wow. I mean, you took action and you got into you got scammed. So it wasn't necessarily like, you got into a deal. I mean, it was just a bad situation with a bad person, but still the fact that you put up money and that you already did that. I mean, I'm sure you had a lot more experiences from that, just from that alone, than a lot of those people that were even there.
Yeah, man, to be honest, man, it helped us like really build up our confidence back because, just investing so much money. That's almost $100,000. And at the time in Arizona when we were going to RIA, we were like some of the only black people going to RIA. So, we're sticking out like sore thumbs. We're like, man, this is embarrassing. We feel like not only we letting ourselves down, we felt like we were letting our culture down. You know what I'm saying? Because there wasn't many people that looked like us in there. However, once we started to just embrace the story, embrace the pain, we were able to actually meet a lot of people that helped build us up. Like you said, we didn't give ourselves enough credit. Like you're out there, you're taking action. You don't really know what you're doing, but you're not afraid to pull the trigger. So many people have been talking about getting into real estate for 2 years, 3 years, simply not taking action, but they've read every single book out there. We were one of those that decided we're going to do something about it. It just, we took a loss. But any millionaire out there, any millionaire, any billionaire, trust me, all of them have had failures in the past as well. That's how they got to where they are.
Man, no, that's so much facts with that, because a lot of people are going to continue to analyze deal after deal, going to continue to read about how to invest in real estate, but they never take action. That's what we call analysis paralysis. Like you are always in an analysis phase, but you are paralyzed to ever take action because you just fear the unknown. And that's why you can be qualified as a teacher, because you can just teach people how to take action, something that's a big step for a lot of people. And then even if you didn't do the deal successfully, you at least learn lessons along the way of like what not to do. And people need to learn that just as much as they need to learn what to do. And people are also more receptive to failures because they can relate to and be like, okay, so you don't have to be perfect when you get started. And people can be inspired by that too. I think all that plays a large factor in for you impacting others in that way, especially in that time space that you were in during that time. And just moving it on. So you were still motivated, I'm sure, to continue doing real estate. So what came after that? Was it like real estate still, or were you getting into mobile homes? Like when did mobile homes come into play?
To be honest, man, we didn't know, what our next move was going to be. We were telling ourselves we didn't have enough money, enough knowledge to continue to move forward with real estate. And actually, after losing that much money, we didn't really have much motivation to keep moving forward. Luckily, we had some really good friends in our circle that we actually met at one of those RIA events that invited us to a separate event. And there was this 80-year-old guy. He was talking about he was making about $40,000 to $50,000 a month, but he was using mobile homes, and he wasn't really using anything but between like $4,000 to $5,000 of his own money per month. He said, if you guys are new to real estate investing and you're not at least utilizing mobile homes in your portfolio, you're missing a huge opportunity. So, I soaked up that game, took all that information home, ran home, told Samara, like, yo, this is it. We can still be involved in real estate investing. However, we're going to be with a niche called mobile home investing. So, of course, you guys could believe, probably think about what she said. She said, hell no, mobile homes. She's thinking about 8 Mile, trailer trash.
Trailer trash, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're almost $100,000, in the hole. There's no way in hell mobile homes is going to get us out of this. But we started doing a lot of research. And not only did we see the opportunity, but we saw that there's an affordable housing crisis in this country. And there's actually a very high demand for affordable homes, even though the supply is pretty low.
It reminds me of shout out to Byron and Sharnice. He said that whenever he had, because we interviewed him, I think episode 43 or something like that, but he said that he ran home and told Sharnice something similar after he heard a podcast. So it's funny that you went and told your wife the same thing.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I think, and this is again, it's like something that's like, because the guy that had the 80-year-old guy you said that had the mobile homes, he's probably been doing it for so long, and he has seen like, there's opportunity here, because the thing I feel like a lot of people that are in mobile homes, they can foresee the fact that, like you said, there's an affordable home crisis, especially, wages aren't necessarily rising, but cost of living is obviously continuing to rise. I mean, inflation is a lot higher than we actually think it is. Or than they at least tell us. So I recently learned. So the fact that, that guy was in it, and then you saw the opportunity in that too. I think there was, that was just really such a good move on your part to get into it at that time. Not to say that you couldn't get in now, but that there's still plenty of opportunity, I'm sure, to get in. I mean, I saw earlier, just when I was doing some research on it, it said that I think 18 million people in America live in mobile homes right now, which is over 5% of the population.
Yeah, man, there's a ton of people that actually need these homes because think about it, even going through, COVID, there's a lot of people that can't afford single family homes. And a lot of the people that we run into, sometimes they don't want a single family home. They just want to choose to live a more affordable lifestyle.
Yeah.
So what are they looking towards? They're not really wanting to stay in their cars. They don't want to go and stay with their family. They still want a sense of privacy. They just want something that they can call their own that's affordable. And that's where mobile homes comes through.
It's I think because it's like the American dream isn't what people, it's not what it used to be anymore. Like now millennials don't care so much about owning a home any like their parents or the earlier generations. It's about freedom, traveling, having fun, and living, having an affordable life. That's what things are moving towards. So I know almost probably a quarter of millennials are, probably at some point will be, looking at those more affordable options, or living in those affordable options in the future. So I think that's good.
Yeah, and it's all about, controlling your time, controlling the narrative, of course, not exchanging time for money, but also being able to create long-lasting, memorable experiences. Like we're living life to make more experiences. Our money is just a tool, it's a byproduct of us serving. We get to serve our clients and create these memorable experiences that not a lot of people can say that they do.
No, that's big, man. And so you end up going to your wife, telling her about mobile homes. She's calling it trailer trash immediately, and so I know that takes some convincing because you had to pretty much convince somebody who is totally against it to be on board and come and join in and like be enthusiastic and actually and join in with the investment in the whole investing process. So. I don't know how that process looked like, but like, can you get into your first deal and like what it took in order to make it happen?
Yeah, so the way I convinced her is really just through like running all the numbers. So we did a bunch of research, and then I was able to show her like, hey, this is how much we have. Let's just run through an example. If I go find a home tomorrow, this is the opportunity that exists with what we have right now. And then if we take this and do this 3 to 4 times a month, not only can you see how we can pay off this debt, we can actually make a living off of this for the future. So once we started to do the math, she had an aha moment. And then we started to see how many mobile homes were in Phoenix. We were living in Phoenix at the time, how many mobile home parks were out there. It was like a no brainer for us to start. So, our first deal when we got involved, we were actually doing fix and flips. We were actually doing buy and hold. So, we would fix up the property. We would find a buyer that wanted to buy the home. We would only work on all the cosmetic repairs, and make sure all the big five, like the flooring, the AC, the roofing, electrical, plumbing, making sure all that's good to go. Our first home, we got into this home for about $5,000. It needed about $1,000 worth of work. The great thing about it, though, we were able to find somebody that was able to come through, bring $6,000 down as a down payment, and then pay us $250 a month. I believe that was for about 5 years. And again, all we did was make sure the big five major repairs were done. I'm sorry, they took care of all the cosmetic issues. It's not like a HGTV project. They're coming in saying, hey, I can't afford single family. I can take this home. I can do what I want with it. You guys took care of the big major items. I can take care of the cosmetic side.
So was that a rent to own, or was it like a?
There's no really rentals. So it's actually a seller finance.
Yeah,
Yeah, most of the time the parks, they want to see, the title owner. They want to see, just in case this individual stops paying lot rent, they want to be able to come after somebody to make sure that that lot rent is still being paid. They don't really like rentals in there, so we stay away from those.
that's what I'm big on. I want to get really really in depth into that because we've actually invested in one mobile home ourselves out here in Houston, and that's one thing that we've ran into a lot is the way that parks want to manage the mobile homes in there. They want to see people owning the homes rather than people like renting them out. And so when you approach a park, what is that process like for trying to convince them, especially because are you coming in there saying I'm an investor, I'm planning on getting somebody in this home to and like renting it out to them? Like, are you being transparent, or are you just saying, I want to live here, and then behind the scenes you're renting it out? How does that work for
Yeah,
you?
we're all always transparent. The main thing we stay away from though is using the word investor. Just because a lot of park managers, they ended up getting screwed by investors. They're gonna promise that
Yeah.
they're gonna do this, that, and the third, and then they end up poaching, moving the homes out of the park. So what I try to come in and say is like, hey, Mr. or Miss Park Manager, I see you guys have all these vacant homes. Do you have any other vacant properties in this home or any potential vacant properties coming up that you're going to have any trouble filling? I've got a gang of people that want to live in this community, want to live in this area of town. They just need help. They need help finding the home. I want to just marry the two. We're also going to take care of anything that's needed on the outside of the home, the exterior of the home, to make sure we bring it up to park standard. And then many of our buyers are looking to stay in this community for 4 to 5 years. So I usually just paint the picture what that looks like as far as lot rent and income and all the time, effort, and energy we're saving them. So I just come in, I try to bring as much value to the park as possible.
So are you ever acquiring the homes?
We do that too. We'll let them know like, hey, do you guys have any homes that, need fixing up that you're not going to fix up yourself? That's another option. We could come in, fix the home up. And just to let you guys know, we're not going to just say we're going to fix it up and then pull it out. We actually can draw up a contract between us to ensure we're going to leave the home in place, pay lot rent while we're fixing up the home, and then transfer that lot rent over once we find a new buyer for that home.
Got you. So real quick, can you mention just how many of these deals have you done now, and or what does your portfolio look like? Are y'all still actively pretty much flipping them, or what does it look like?
Yeah, we've done over 400 mobile home transactions up to date by this point. At this point, though, we're only really focusing on like wholesaling deals and brokering deals. So our name in the game is volume at this point. When we were looking at the numbers, it just made sense for us to kind of like make a pivot. We were doing a lot of fix and flips and buy and holds when we first started out. We were able to generate way more revenue once we just made that pivot and decided let's stick to wholesaling and brokering deals. We're still actively doing deals to this date. We've done deals in Texas, California, and Arizona, to be exact.
So then why did y'all, because I'm curious, because typically, just in terms of like the mindset of like, the long-term financial freedom mindset, if you're brokering or wholesaling deals, that's more so like active income. Like if you stop doing that, then the money's going to stop coming in. Correct. Yeah. So what is why did y'all decide to start doing that as opposed to just keeping the buy and holds?
That's a great question. So when you talk about cash flow with mobile homes, it's not just, it's just cash flow. I don't have to do any type of work. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. 80% of our tenants, they will continue to pay throughout the life of whatever terms that you guys decide. There's 20% that end up not paying. You have to, of course, evict them, get that title back, get that home back, fix up any cosmetic repairs, any major repairs, put that home back on the market, find someone new. And even that 80%, you're having to stay on them, making sure that, you're doing inspections on the home, making sure that the home is okay, at least on the exterior of the home. It gives you an idea what the interior looks like. A lot of the time, sometimes there may be a day or two late on payments. There's just different things and nuances that you have to go through just managing those homes. It's not just set it and forget it just because you have cash flowing properties. There's work that needs to be done. And we added up the amount of time and effort that we were taking to, manage all these properties. Up to date, we have about just 20 left in our portfolio that we're cash flowing. We just decided, if we're going to do that, you're going to have to do more so like a large scale. It makes more sense to do like a whole entire park versus these onesie twosies. And you're still exchanging your time for money. If we focus on wholesale deals and broker deals, we don't have to invest any money. We just invest our time. But now, since we have Trailer Cash Academy, we can actually help empower people, give them opportunities to get their first, second, third deals, and then we all win. And they get in and out as quickly as possible as well.
So now so you're trying to pretty much now convert all the cash that you're making now and all of that stuff into a larger asset like a mobile home park. That's the goal now, right?
Yeah, and it could be a mobile home park. Like I mentioned earlier, we just had our baby. We made a big move out to Texas so that we can now shift into that I quadrant. Of course, the natural thing to do is mobile home parks. We're kind of interested in, mobile homes on land as well. A lot of our portfolio, most of those are all of those are actually in mobile home parks. We want to see what the water looks like, testing it out with mobile homes on land or even parks. So we're kind of exploring our options right now. That's kind of why we came out here.
You said even parks?
Yeah. So yeah, we're looking at potentially parks. The issue with us with parks is we've ran into a few of our friends that have actually taken on parks, not as silent investors, where they're actually like doing the work with the home, with the park. They're purchasing the park. They're doing all the hiring and the firing. They're bringing in all the maintenance. They're bringing in newer homes. You got to have a lot of time on your hands. You got to have a lot of desire in order to do that. A lot of the time, you're not really making money on that park for a few years because of all the debt that you acquire just to take on that home. So it's something that we're looking at, but it's not something that we want to just take on by ourselves. If we're going into that park space, I'd rather just be an investor, make 10 to 12% on my money, and be able to be out. I don't have to touch the park. I don't want to own it myself and do all the work.
So it's like it's like in with the commercial real estate, you can do syndications with apartment buildings. So you'll have your limited partners, which is the silent investors, and then you'll have the general partners, or the the syndicators, the ones actually owning it and putting together the deal. I mean, you own it too. Everybody owns it, but like the people that are the general partners, they have to be more active in it.
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, we just don't want to do the groundwork. We just literally want to invest our money, make a percentage on the money that's going to be beating the bank night and day.
That's the key right there. You got to know what you want out of whatever investment, whatever business that you're setting up. Are you looking for passivity? Are you looking for cash flow? Are you looking for working the rest of your life, like doing wholesales until age 60? Are you looking for fix and flips forever? Like, you got to figure out what do you want to do, and are you interested in time? Are you interested in money? Are you interested in passive income? Those are the type of things are the questions you need to be answering yourself before you choose the vehicle that you want to go into.
And I like that you're saying that too. And all we're doing is, we know we can just go and throw a bunch of money and just bounce to the I quadrant. But man, we just feel like we got pretty much 100% good to go as far as building an actual business. We don't like to skip steps. We've seen a lot of people go from that S side, they're making a lot of money, go to the I side, they're starting to invest now, they crap out, and then sometimes they go back to being an employee because they need to make money again. Our thing was, we're going to take our time, even if it takes a few years. We want to really make sure that we know how to build a business in and out to the point we can go and teach other people how to do the same thing, so that no matter what, we know, even though we have to quote unquote work for that money, we know that's still coming in, every single month. And I feel a little bit more secure taking those funds and shifting over to the investment side.
Yeah, I think that's really straightforward, because again, and it just goes back to the formula, man. It's like 9 to 5 income to a business, and then the business income gets put into long-term assets. That's the formula for wealth, ultimate, like year-round, 100%, 365. So, but one thing I want to ask, kind of just to make sure that, because a lot of people are listening, I'm sure they want to know, what if someone wants to get started, like investing in mobile homes, what should they be doing first? What are some of the first steps they need to be taking in terms of taking action and getting into mobile homes? Because that's definitely what we want people to do.
Really great question. So the first thing is, just become a sponge of information. If you go and write up on YouTube, even Facebook, there's so much free information out there. You want to be able to convince yourself that this works. You want to be able to convince yourself that you have the effort, you have the energy, you have the time, you have the desire to actually want to do this. At that point, once you've gotten the information, you kind of have an idea, a good overview of how this works. From there, we say, find yourself a mentor, somebody that's done at least 10 deals in the past 12 months. It can be us, it can be Byron Charnice, it can be somebody in your local area. Whoever it is, just find somebody and make sure you do your due diligence, make sure that they're qualified, so you're not getting got like we did. And then from there, it's all about like literally like every day setting out time to learn, but 80% of my time, I'm going to be focused on revenue generating activities. We see so many people do it the other way around. It's like 80% of my time, I'm focused on just learning and learning more. And then it's like you're a victim of analysis paralysis. We say, 80% of your time, revenue generating activities, you go out there and make some mistakes. And then 20% of that time, you should be learning from some of the mistakes that you made, and then learning for any type of like future goals that you have for yourself and your business.
Revenue generating activities. I think that's a major bar right there, because a lot of people will think that they're taking action by reading up on the next module that y'all have listed in y'all course, or going over the one that they already went over 2 times just to make sure they got everything, versus going out to a mobile home park, talking to the mobile home park owner and figuring out which houses are currently vacant and which ones need some repairs, or which whatever that may be. And I think that separates the people that's going to take action from the ones who just going to have that analysis paralysis. And I really don't want to gloss over this because you mentioned this earlier, and I think a lot of people are going to be mad if we don't answer this question. You mentioned that you got into that first mobile home for $5,000, put $1,000 into it, then got a down payment from somebody that covered all of your costs to get into it, $6,000, and then got $250 in rent per month for 5 years straight. So somebody's listening saying, where am I finding that type of deal at? Because I think that's going to be the first question that they're going to ask. So how do you find these deals?
So I'm gonna give it to you guys straight. I'm not gonna hold back. There's a few ways you can go about doing this. One, going on Google, figuring out where your mobile home parks are. Once you have a list of the different mobile home communities, go and drive those communities and go talk to those park managers. Again, figure out how you can bring value to the park manager and see if they have any vacancies or any homes that need any type of repairs that you could come in, bring value to them, bring in a long-term buyer for that community. Second thing, when you're driving these communities, you can always look for sale by owner signs. A lot of the time, these mobile home sellers and owners, they don't have any other way to go and sell these homes. They don't know how. They put a sign in the window and that's that. Sometimes those signs have been up for 30 days, 60 days. Go in, bring value to them, figure out how you can bring them a buyer, get what they need. And, either, lock it down, very little money, or even if they want the retail price point, we can still go out there and find them a buyer for what they need, just charge a fee for it. Another way you can go out and find homes online, man, OfferUp, Craigslist. There's a lot of people that, that's all they do. They put the home on OfferUp, set it and forget it. Sometimes there's like some gems on there. We found homes that we literally bought for $500, flipped that thing into $19,500. There's so much opportunity out there. Sometimes there's motivated sellers, and that's all they know how to do. And then another good one, I would say, just going on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, very similar to OfferUp, Craigslist. Sometimes you'll find some solid deals in there. That's all low-hanging fruit type of marketing. In our program, we teach a little bit more advanced levels of marketing, but this is marketing that you can do literally just in your car or on your phone.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. I think that's like very straightforward, because I one thing I do want people to understand is that make sure that obviously you're buying distressed, properties, because or mobile homes, because I know you can go on there, you're going to see a lot of those move-in ready turnkey ones. Those are not what we're talking about, correct? We're referring to only the distressed ones, the ones that you can add value to, because there's no value in something that's already move-in ready.
And the good thing about even something that's move-in ready with our niche, a lot of the time the seller of that home, the owner of that home that has that move-in ready home, they might have that home on the market for, let's just say, $50,000. If you know your market, you've been doing your research, you've been out there putting in action, you might be able to go and tell the seller, like, hey man, your home's been sitting on the market for 90 days just because you're asking for too much. Based on the data that I have, homes similar to yours, they actually sell for around $35,000. I've got buyers ready to go right now that can get approved through this community that has cash ready to go if you're interested in a more realistic price point. A lot of the time, they're able to have that conversation if they're motivated enough. And that's why we say it doesn't matter necessarily if it's motivated, if it's a distressed home. It could also be a distressed seller, or it could be a seller that's in that retail space. They just need some help selling the home. There's all types of opportunities in this niche to make money.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think I wasn't even thinking of that. That's a good play. Because like you said, if they're distressed, or if either the seller is going to be distressed or the home will be distressed. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely, as long as there's some sort of motivation, then there's definitely an opportunity to extract some value from that.
Exactly.
Cool. Oh, go ahead, Marlon. I was going to kind of transition out.
Yeah, I was about to just lead up to another question with it. So, You see, some homes may cost more than others. So I don't know if every home that you find is going to cost 5,000 or 10,000 or less even. And so let's say somebody's looking to get into one, but they don't see any that's that low. How would they go about financing it? Do they go to a bank? Do banks loan on these mobile homes? And if so, what are like the terms that they give out? And are they favorable to somebody that's trying to offshoot that mobile home in like 5 years, sort of say?
That's a great question. So, and I hope can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Gotcha.
So even if you're not finding homes for under $5,000, again, if they're in that retail space, maybe it's $10,000, $15,000. You can always partner with other people. We say get connected to any type of mobile home investing community. Maybe you don't have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, but maybe somebody in that community in your community has that money and sees an opportunity. If I can invest my 15 or 20 grand and make $10,000 on that in less than 4 weeks, I'm on it. If you don't have that type of option, one, you can go out and market the home still, find a retail buyer. Sometimes they still have that money in that retail space, but even if they don't, they can go and get a finance. They can go to their personal bank. They can go to their credit union. There's even a big, large institution out there called 21st Mortgage, who actually does loans on mobile homes. Now they do have an inspection process on the home. They have their own criteria they're looking at, but it's at least an option for you.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Well, I kind of wanted to transition more so into, what, I know you mentioned that you were trying to, y'all are looking more like long-term kind of stuff. So can you kind of, talk about where y'all's business is headed in that direction, or in terms of like long-term, and what y'all kind of have planned for the future and those kind of things?
Yeah, man, it's funny that you mentioned that. Literally this weekend, now that we're settled here in Dallas, that's exactly what we're doing, creating this big vision of where we want this business to go. So we've got Deo Properties, that's our mobile home investing business. We've got Trailer Cash Academy, that's our education business. And now we're trying to figure out what is that next business as far as the investing side goes. We're looking at exploring our options for mobile home parks here in Texas, mobile homes on land, and even potentially renewable energy. Either way, whichever avenue we choose, we know we can't do them all at once. We're going to focus on one thing until it's successful, just like we did with the mobile home space. We were investors ourselves. Then we went to the education space. Now we're going to tackle the investing side. So long term, man, it's all about continuing to educate. As more and more states become open, post COVID, we actually want to start throwing actual events, hosting events, kind of like getting back into that hosting space that we were in. And then all these funds that we're bringing in, it's great, you're making money, but if you don't have any calls for this capital, you can get caught up in just making more and more money. So our cause capital will be creating an organization where we can actually help individuals that have service related businesses, actually teach them how to build a business, how to get out of that S quadrant, and how to become business owners so they can impact their communities more. And then again, with all of our money, we can invest into our organization and invest in either parks, mobile homes on land, or renewable energy. We're just doing our research now to figure out which one that is.
I like that. I like that because you're creating multiple streams of income just from this one industry, essentially. Like you have, obviously, you're investing in the mobile homes. You started teaching the mobile homes after you've done it, and now you have another tranche here in terms of investing into the mobile home. So that's really the blueprint, man. It's like, especially in this day and age, where it's like if you can create something, you become dominant in that niche. You become one of the thought leaders. You can now begin to sell the information, make money that way. And then obviously, on a larger scale too, getting into bigger assets. So I love to see it. I love to see it.
Yeah, for anybody out there that's just getting started, we talk about, mobile home parks, mobile homes on land, renewable energy. It's the same thing. There's levels of learning. It doesn't mean I'm going to take all this at once and just tackle it. Some of you guys are starting out trying to get involved in real estate investing. You don't know if you want to fix and flip, wholesale. I'm looking at these apartments now. Oh man, this mobile home investing thing. We always say, just protect your time, protect your energy. Just pick one of those avenues. If it's wholesaling mobile homes, cool. If it's wholesaling real estate, cool. Focus on one thing until it's successful and then expand more. But you'll have more capacity if you just focus on doing one thing versus doing everything.
I just got finished reading the book, The One Thing, and that's all they talked about. It's like become a master in one particular area, and if you do, everybody's going to see you as the expert in that area. When you think, well, like for us, when we thought of vending machines, we bought on a guy, Kashif Edwards, who did vending machines. We think of him immediately when we think about vending machines because he's monopolized that particular area. We will hope that when people think real estate, they think about money monopolizers because that's what we do. We will hope that when somebody thinks mobile homes, they're gonna think of Byron and Charnice, or they're gonna think of Jay and Samira. Like that's what it's all about. Like become a master in that field, and you're gonna be the go-to expert in that field, and then you can start building multiple streams of income within that same field. Teaching it is a form of income. Investing with people that you taught is a form of income. You can do an investing yourself into a mobile home. That's a form of income. You can create streams off of that one, and it just starts off with that one rather than trying to diversify into 5 totally different streams of income.
Yeah, when you can start making money for yourself, going out in the field, investing in mobile homes, finding, different vending machines to make money yourself, putting the action in, that's cool. You can make money, you can sense, a certain level of freedom, but it's when you can actually start to educate people. That's when you take that freedom to the next level, man, and you're actually like empowering others and really making a difference in the world. It's a really good way to, solidify yourself in your purpose.
Cool, man. So what we want to do then is kind of transition into the Fast Five. So this is where we'll kind of just ask you 5 questions, and then you just answer them in 10 seconds or less. So I'm gonna take the first question, and then we'll alternate. So the first question is, what does success mean to you?
Success means to me controlling my time, doing what I want, when I want, but also being able to take the information that I have out of my head, articulate it to others, and they impact their community in a positive way where they can do the same for other people.
Yes, sir. I think you're well on your way to doing that too. You're already you're in the midst of it, really. Question number 2: what's your favorite money or business book?
Man, my favorite book, honestly, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I know it's a little bit basic based on where I am right now. However, for anybody just struggling, trying to figure out what that next thing is, what they need to be doing, this gives you that paradigm shift to first gain some awareness and then see the potential where you could take things just based on the information in that book, man. That's my favorite one.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, you can't go wrong. That's a classic, bro.
Yeah.
It's a classic. So then, third question: would you rather have $1 million today or $1,000 a week for life?
$1 million today or $1,000 a week for life. For me, that's a really great question. I got 10 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and take the $1,000 a week for life because I know it's guaranteed. I know that's guaranteed money. I know that's coming in each and every day, and I know with that $1,000, with the information that I have and where I'm at in life, I can take that $1,000 that's guaranteed and turn that each of those $1,000. I can compound that into making $1 million each of those. With the information that I have, because it's already coming in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard that particular response. That's a good one, actually. Okay, question number 4: if you could go back and change anything about your journey, what would it be?
Giving myself more grace, man. Just really, really down on myself, feeling like worthless, depressed because of just taking action and failing. I would give myself a little bit more grace, so I can save so much of my time and energy versus being in that bottomless pit for so long. You took action, you failed, we failed forward. It's okay. The only time you fail is when you decide not to get up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it. So then the last question is, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, you guys can go to YouTube. Just type in Trailer Cash Academy. You can go on Instagram. I'm Jay Harvey. Ton of information, free information on YouTube, though. That's where you're going to find an abundance of all of our info, knowledge, resources, tools that we talk about, testimonials. Go ahead and check us out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cool, man. Well, this has been dope. This has been a super, fun episode. A lot of value in here. I appreciate you coming on here and, start giving as much value as you did. I think mobile homes is definitely something where there's so much opportunity in right now. And like we said earlier, man, in 15 years, 20 years, this is going to be a lot more common in terms of people, number one, living in mobile homes, and number two, the amount of people that will be also investing in mobile homes. It's kind of like how real estate is right now. Real estate is really saturated. There's still opportunity, but it's a lot harder to get into real estate today than it was 20 years ago because of now the information that's out there. I mean, there's plenty of information, which makes it easier, but means there's a lot more competition. So, right now I see this as there's so much opportunity right now in mobile homes. So, for us to have you on here to come and talk to our audience, I think is adding a ton of value to people more than they even realize.
Man, I appreciate both you guys for having me. All I want to do is just help that person get out of that head trash they're in. Just get out there, take action. I know you got a lot of different options. You're trying to figure out which avenue you want to go in. All I say is pick one. And even if it's real estate, like you said, it's saturated. That's why we niche down. We decided,
Yes, sir.
real estate investment, I need to niche down into mobile home investing. Find your niche and just stick to the script, man. Stick to the blueprint. Stay consistent. Your time will come.
Yes, sir.
Big facts, man. Appreciate you coming on again, bro. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate y'all.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. New episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you learned something of value today. If you did, we'd appreciate it if you rated us 5 stars and left us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also find out more info about us on Twitter at the Monopolizers or on IG at Money Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that'll keep you engaged. So be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we're out of here.